check. Here we go. Check. Here we go. What's happening, people? How are you? Oh my gosh. Congratulations to Sean right out of the gate, getting their second dose of the vaccine on Saturday. Is that what I hear? Is that what is happening in the chat as I just roll in? Welcome to the show, everybody. How are you? How's it going? How's your Tuesday? It's a crazy one. Needless to say, as we settle in and welcome and say hi to everybody, and thank you guys for joining us day after day as this goes on. Right now, we are on we're on essentially rescue plan watch in terms of when and if the actual bill will make it to the floor for a vote. There's a lot of procedural stuff that goes into that has to do with time in committee, time in like publicly available, that kind of stuff. Anything and everything to drag the whole thing out. And in the meantime, Trump has turned his, I guess the Republican Party and Fox News in general are now let's see if I can find it. They have turned they've turned basically Fox News into his Twitter. He puts out Trump has just put out a statement. This is him tweeting. This is his, let me see if I can find the actual whole thing. Speech and strange and blah, blah. I hate when they put it up on like some of these sites. Hi, Raphael. Thank you. Watching a turtle change. Right. Is impossible. Let's see. And, it's basically just leading people on in, let's see if they just do the complete thing. Where is it, you rat? I mean, like many of us even need to read the whole thing, but you know how I am a stickler for the actual. Where is it? Where are they? I need a PDF of it. There you go. Let's see who we can trust to actually post the whole thing, or at least a link to the whole thing. Mitch is okay. There's words from the McConnell Sunday op-ed, and that's really the reason why Trump sent this out, was that McConnell put out an op-ed about him, and then of course said his statement from the floor, which is a full-on like, dude deserves to go to jail. He's basically offloading any responsibility of the Republican Party onto Trump from the floor of the Senate. So they're like, we're voting not to acquit, but because we think it's unconstitutional to carry this through, even though the Constitution argument was answered early. Let's see, here it is. Look at this. There you go. Thank you, Boston Herald, for having the whole text of the entire thing. So this is here's the statement in full. I have yet to read the whole thing, but it should be a joy. Former president sent out an email blast. This is going to be the new way. Now he's got an email list. Basically, Trump has been relegated because of being kicked off Twitter for, trying to burn our democracy down, and Facebook and other sites, into basically being an indie rock act circa 1998. I want to first thank my team of dedicated lawyers and others for their tireless work upholding justice, defending truth. They looked a little tired. I'm not gonna lie. And especially considering they looked overly tired, considering how little work they actually, all of it was in caps lock. I guess they reverted it back and a lot of extra exclamation points. But considering that it was a fix from the very beginning and the Republicans were never going to allow him to be convicted, it seems a bit odd that these guys want to pat themselves on the back for a job well done. You know what I mean? It's like being a rich guy and literally paying a UFC fighter to take a dive. Like, I'll give you $15 million if you, and I promise not to really lay a glove on you because I'm not going to try very hard. But you just let me tap you out and I'll pay you $15 million. And then brags that he won. Or like Big and Rich or Eric and Don Jr., where they go on these hunting trips and the animals they're hunting are actually staked in place. That's probably more, a sounder analogy considering they actually participate in it. As of what bragging about winning this friggin' case. So our cherished constitutional republic was founded on the impartial rule of law, the indispensable safeguard for our liberties, our rights, and our freedoms. That's your first sentence where you really know this was drafted by somebody else based on what he wanted were bullet point tweets. So just take these 3 sentences in Sharpie and make them look like a grown-up wrote it. It is a sad commentary on our times that one political party in America is given a free pass to denigrate the rule of law, defame law enforcement, cheer mobs, excuse rioters, and transform justice into a tool of political vengeance, and persecute, blacklist, cancel, and suppress all people and viewpoints with whom or which they disagree. Well, that's not true. There's plenty of people on Twitter and other sites that you disagree with. You can't. We're not canceling, suppressing people and viewpoints with whom or which they disagree. What? This shit tons of people are still online because they didn't actually call for violence. It's pretty easy. Oi, you're in San Antonio. Everybody in Texas, please stay on the warm side of a bay window if you can, and check on your friends. Let's see. Okay. With whom I always have and always will be a champion for the unwavering rule of law. Right. Yeah, that's why you tried to get off on a technicality. The heroes of law enforcement, except, of course, Capitol Police, and the right of Americans to peacefully and honorably debate the issues of the day without malice and without hate. What are you talking about? Trump was the dude who denigrated everybody he was campaigning against in his own primary without malice and without hate. He called Ted Cruz's wife ugly and said his dad was in on the Kennedy assassination. What? I mean, we haven't even gotten to how he treats women and Democrats and people on the other side of the political aisle in general. Really? Without malice and without hate. This has been yet another phase of the greatest witch hunt in the history of our country. Well, honestly, all the previous witch hunts were for actual witch hunts, for witches. And they didn't really catch any. They didn't find any witches. They just burned a bunch of midwives at the stake and drowned a bunch of them. So if this is the greatest witch hunt in history, it means what? He's admitting to be a witch? Is that where we're going? No president has ever gone through anything like it, and it continues because our opponents cannot forget the almost 75 million people, the highest number ever for a sitting president, who voted for us just a few short months ago. What does that have to do with anything? Seriously, if you stand... Yeah, he doesn't stand for law and order, Angela. If you stand for law and order, what difference does it make how many votes you got? 75 million votes doesn't override the rule of law. That's literally what he's calling for. You're supposed to leave me alone and not bother me because a bunch of people have my back. I should be able to break as many laws as I want because 75 million people voted for me. All right. I also want to convey my gratitude to the millions of decent, hardworking, law-abiding, God and country-loving citizens who have bravely supported these important principles in these very difficult and challenging times. Well, it's nice of him to give a tip of the hat to Democrats. It's rude of him to excuse all the Republicans in office right now, because there's a whole lot of the word decent would exclude them. Definitely hardworking when you're talking about his legal team. Law-abiding, clearly not. God and country-loving. I don't know why why are those put together? What is this? Why is God and country a chunk? Does anybody... God and country. Why don't you just put an apostrophe N? God and country. God and country. This is God and country. In these very difficult and challenging times. Our historic, patriotic, and beautiful movement. He always loves the word beautiful, like anything about him or that crowd is aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, Butter Emails was the last witch hunt? Yes. But that was not the greatest because it was completely unsuccessful and failed miserably. I guess it found the truth, and truth will set you free. So I don't know whether you'd consider that a win or a loss. Moving to Make America Great Again. Thanks for capitalizing all those. Has only just begun. We've only just begun. No, actually, you haven't. This is the beginning of the end. We've only just begun to end. In the months ahead, I have much to share with you. Oh, great. Trump's going to be tweeting nudes. Terrific. And I look forward to continuing our incredible journey together to achieve American greatness for all of our people. There has never been anything like it. Yes, there has never been. We haven't seen a dereliction of duty in terms of the presidency, during the Spanish flu. Even Reagan and AIDS, like, dude eventually came around. There has never been anything like. I like the exclamation point. There's never been anything like it. We have so much work ahead of us, and soon we will emerge with a vision for a bright, radiant, and limitless American future. World domination. Together there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Now he's just cribbing stuff from Biden. We remain one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And it's our responsibility to preserve this magnificent inheritance for our children and for generations of Americans to come. May God bless all of you, and may God forever bless the United States of America. This is basically teleprompter fodder. If this was him reading it between, like, I want to first thank my team of dedicated lawyers and others, some who couldn't be here, but I wouldn't thank them anyways because they suck, and for their tireless work. There's, some would even say they're working harder than me, but they'd be wrong. Upholding justice and defending truth. No one has ever defended truth the way I have, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is just his lead into March 4th. So this was his whole, when was this one? Oh, that's on the impeachment acquittal. That's not the statement on McConnell and this fire. Here we go. Trump attacks Senate and fiery statement. Email blast. Mitch is a dour. Okay, why doesn't it have the whole thing? Statement released by his PAC. That's a statement on impeachment. That's it. Boston Globe will post it. We can always count on the Boston Globe. Except they won't let us read it. Close. There we go. Trump attacks Mitch. Okay, this is the whole thing. Read the full article. The Republican Party, the Republican Party can never again be respected or strong with political leaders, in subtle quotes, like Senator Mitch McConnell at its helm. In the statement, Trump. Okay, this is the whole thing. Where we go? Give me the whole thing. I'm sick of these people trying to do, like, don't cut and paste it. It's rude. I'm looking for it. Here it is. Here's the whole picture. Man, it's sad when you have to go to Twitter to find the whole thing, right? You know what I mean? Well, because it's from the Save America PAC, so they're just, cribbing parts of it. And I'll stretch this down like this and move it down like there so you can see the top of it. There you go. My only regret, let's see. Okay. Oh, I see. There's 2 pages of this craziness. Go back. I'm very sexy, but that's not what I'm looking for. Go here. There you go. Statement. Here it is. I found it. Hi. The Republican Party, there was a statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Former president. But yeah, he'll keep saying 45th. That's how he's going to do it. The Republican Party can never again be respected or strong with political leaders, in quotes. Like, look, they fixed it. The Boston Globe fixed it. They gave him the inside. They're quoting it. They are, okay. Like Senator Mitch McConnell at his helm. McConnell's dedication to business as usual, status quo policies, together with his lack of political insight, wisdom, skill, and personality, that's the key thing, has rapidly driven him from majority leader to minority leader, and it will only get worse. Yeah, it's Mitch McConnell's fault, who, by the way, managed to lock, check out the ES&S machines, managed to lock the election in Kentucky. I'm just saying, 76-year-old dude is... who just got fired is telling 78-year-old dude who still has a job, but not the majority because Republicans lost, who's, what side of the bread his butter is on. The Democrats and Chuck Schumer play McConnell like a fiddle. They've never had it so good. Well, of course they have. We've had bigger majorities, you know. And they want to keep it that way. We know our America First agenda is a winner. It's a winner. Not McConnell's Beltway first or agenda or Biden's America last. Oh, so Rudy Giuliani had a piece in this. In 2020, I received the most votes of any sitting president in history, almost 75,000. Of course, you know, lost to Biden by almost 81 million. 75 million. Every incumbent in House, I said 75,000, didn't I? So, yeah, that's how many really got. I'm going to start my own reason to get kicked off YouTube. I doubt the election. I don't think there are any Trump voters in this country. Prove me wrong. All right. Every incumbent in House Republican won for the first time in decades, and we flipped 15 seats, almost costing Nancy Pelosi her job. Almost. Horseshoes and hand grenades. Republicans won majorities in at least 59 of the 98 partisan legislative chambers, and the Democrats failed to flip a single legislative chamber from red to blue. And in Mitch's Senate over the last 2 election cycles, I single-handedly saved at least 12 Senate seats. He's just not calling out the ones he lost. More than 8 in the 2020 cycle alone by staying away. And then came the Georgia disaster, where we should have won both U.S. Senate seats, but McConnell matched the Democrats' offered $2,000 stimulus checks with $600. How does that work? It became the Democrats' principal advertisement, and a big winner for them it was. When did he start talking like a Monopoly character? And a big winner for them it was. Where are we? It was McConnell then put himself, one of the most unpopular politicians in the United States, into the advertisements. He did? Seriously, I'm not drinking moonshine. It's water and it's in a mason jar. What? Did McConnell put himself, seriously, did McConnell put himself in the ads? Like, put himself in the ads? I mean, I understand him being in the ads. But does anybody have any evidence that he insisted? I don't know. That's weird. Many Republicans in Georgia voted Democrat or just didn't vote because of their anguish at their inept governor, Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, and the Republican Party for not doing its job on election integrity during the 2020 presidential race. Well, no, actually they did. They clearly did their job. You just didn't like what their job was, which was telling you the truth, which apparently is verboten in this situation. I got to slide this down so you guys can check out the next page of it. And it was a complete election disaster in Georgia, certain other swing states. McConnell did nothing and will never do what needs to be done in order to secure a fair and just electoral system into the future. He just doesn't have what it takes. Never did and never will. Oh, that's what you get. I mean, honestly, are Mike Pence and Mitch McConnell like having drinks right now? You know what I mean? Just bitching about, oh, God, that dude, right? My only regret is that McConnell begged for my strong support and endorsement before the great people of Kentucky in the 2020 election, and I gave it to him. He went from 1 point down to 20 points up, and he won. How quickly he forgets. Without my endorsement, McConnell would have lost, and lost badly. Now his numbers are lower than ever before. He's destroying the Republican side of the Senate, and in doing so, seriously hurting our country. Emphasis on the our. Likewise, McConnell has no credibility on China because of his family's substantial Chinese business holdings. He does nothing on this tremendous economic and military threat. His wife's Chinese. Have you met her? What kind of a maniac would put her in the cabinet? Oh, wait. He made his wife... Are you kidding? This asshole made her transportation secretary. Oh, my God. Mitch is a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack. And if Republican senators are going to stay with him, they will not win again. And he will never do what needs to be done or what is right for our country. Where necessary and appropriate, I will back primary rivals who espouse Make America Great Again and our policy of America First. We want brilliant, strong, thoughtful, and compassionate leadership. Well, then I'm going to run in Kentucky against him. How about that? And I'll have my own version of Make America Great Again by removing all traces of Trump and I'll put America first by putting Trump last. How about that? My America first policy is MAGA last. How do you like that? It's like horseshoe theory. Oh God. Mitch is a dour, sullen, unsmiling political hack. Unsmiling. 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 Prior to the pandemic, before reality set in, we produced the greatest economy and jobs numbers in the history of our country, as well as the largest deficit in history, and the lowest interest rate in the Fed, and still nobody'd borrow money. When Trump, hold on, somebody, what was the super chat, Beth? When Trump talks about witch hunts, he doesn't realize that was based on the Salem witch trials. They stacked stones. He doesn't realize there was one man that died during the Salem witch trial. They stacked stones on his chest and crushed him. Well, you know, if he can't breathe, he's probably the devil. Prior to the pandemic, we produced the greatest economy and jobs number in the history of our country. And likewise, our economic recovery after COVID was the best in the world. We're not out of COVID, dickhead. We weren't recovering. We were jumping in and out of the pool. We cut taxes and regulations, rebuilt our took care of our vets. Lying about 2014 VA choice. Became energy independent. We were under Obama already. Built the wall, 25 miles of it, and stopped the massive inflow of illegals into our country. And so much more, including stopping the massive inflow of legals into our country. And now illegals are pouring in. Pipelines are being stopped. Taxes will be going up. And we will no longer be energy independent. Why? Why won't we be energy independent? Where is that coming from? This is a big moment for our country. And we cannot let it pass by using third-rate leaders to dictate our future. By using third-rate leaders, in quotes again, to dictate our future. Oh, I see. He's referring to himself. He's dictating this letter, and he's a third-rate leader. I see. That's his way of signing up. Goodbye, America, and don't forget I'm a third-rate leader. To sign it with the jaggedy plans. What are Trump's plans for 2022? Wasting everybody's time posting. Like, he's basically going to be shit posting in emails like this. This is so good. Totally love it, you think? Yeah, it's Twizzler's angst. This is like... Thank God, and this is, understand how thankful you have to be that Twitter stopped him at 240 characters. You know what I mean? Because if that shit he could have just brambled on. Oh, wait, God. Maybe think of John Lovitz? Yeah. John's a good dude. He's very weird, but he's a good dude. Aw, hi, kitty. There's a kitty watching. Hi, kitty. Meow, meow. Somebody just sent me this, Defender Dog just sent me this. Hold on. I was switching pages, and this came up. She's in love with Al Sparks. Meow, 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 meow. I'm trying to seal the deal. Yeah, no. So, Trump dictated that to somebody, some rando, right? But Trump is not back on Twitter. No, that was somebody else posted that, like, just as news. Yeah. So, and yeah. No, I would say to all the news out there, by the way, stop carrying statements like that. I'll handle it. Thank you very much. Yeah, they don't deserve to be, read aloud or posted in full. You don't need to do that. They can come here. I do the whole thing. I do a great cat impersonation. We've got friggin' 4 of them in here. A cat is trying to find me behind the TV. That happens. So we have, honest to God, there is no news in what Trump is posting. It's just normal shit posting. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, when he starts building houses like Jimmy Carter, then let me know what he's up to. How about that? Yeah. There is oh my God. Okay. I watched the hilarious mashup of Tucker Carlson's guest. Oh, that was the I beg your pardon. The Daily Show did that, I think, is what you're talking about. But let's get started, shall we, on our joyful trip through. I have to say, when I laughed the second I saw this clip come up. This is from an interview on Newsmax of Trump's lawyer. I have not watched it, but as soon as I saw, okay, you know how most people are doing basically the laptop on the desk look? Check this shit out. Trump's lawyer is like, in case I feel like tubing anybody in the middle of this, in case I want to drop a tube and I want to have like a solid up angle. You couldn't put like, move it further away, further, still further. It's gonna fall off the table. Okay, move it back. Oh yeah, we're gonna see Mike Pillow's "This is the End Times" rant as well if we have time. Oh boy. This is the angle
of the Trump impeachment attorneys, Michael Vanderveen. Sir, thanks for coming on. I know you've been busy the last couple weeks. Thanks for making the time here on News.
I love how he's sitting there dangling his glasses off to the side. Jesus Christ. How's it going? Glad you could join me. Hey, while you're down there, Newsmax.
Newsmax, just first off, the initial reaction, what happened on Saturday? I know you're probably very happy.
Yeah, doesn't he look happy? He smells happy. He seems happy. He's a happy guy. He's rubbing his nose. He's got COVID. This is the...
We're ecstatic. We had a great team of lawyers led by Bruce Castor on the way down to Washington. And
Really? Really, Newsmax? Really, Michael Vanderveen? This choppy bullshit?
we worked really hard and had a wonderful win.
Absolutely.
No, you didn't. The fix was in. You didn't have to work hard at all. It was... The others, oh God.
What would you say to the 7 Republicans that voted against you? What do you have to say to those?
We would like to smite them down in the name of Lord Jesus. They are villainous. One of them is a filthy Mormon, a dirty, dirty man, a man with an elevator full of cars.
7. What did they?
Never have I ever gazed so hatefully upon a smaller group of humans.
I really don't have anything to say to them.
I'm probably going to represent some of them in upcoming cases because I did such a bitching job.
I see on the picture up there, you've got Senator Collins, who I'm a big fan of, and Senator Murkowski.
You're a big fan of hers? I have all of her albums. Oh my God. And while I was there, I got her to sign my shirt. And it's like from the first tour. You're a big fan?
I think they were close.
You're a big fan of someone who saw through your bullshit.
On the jurisdiction, and I think they were close on the due process.
No, they weren't.
And I think that...
that was your only argument? Anybody who didn't go with the it was unconstitutional argument had to vote against you because on the merits you lost?
You know, when they went down to it, and they looked back at their home state base, I think that their base wanted to vote in a particular way, and I think they were trying to do the best they could.
As a member of representational government?
To represent their base and their
constituents,
and I think that's their job. Yeah. They needed 2/3 of...
You know, I just think they're there, and I'm so waiting for him to, like, have the crotch cut out of his pants and just, like, slap shot this dude. Like, uncross his legs, like, Basic Instinct. Oh God.
Of a majority to convict him.
Now they're waiting to get paid. They're not going to get paid.
They didn't even get close. This thing was a political witch.
Yeah, they were 10 short. I mean, you say that they might have been trying to satisfy their base, but that's not what this is supposed to be about, right? I mean, it's supposed to be like a trial.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a trial, but the vast majority of people in a lot of these in Republican states were, you know, like 58% if they were going to satisfy. All right, never mind.
Well, this was nothing like any kind of trial this country has ever seen.
Yeah.
It was bereft of due process.
That was due process, you dickhead. You're the lawyer. You Your Honor, I would like to object. On what grounds? That my client has not been granted decent legal representation or time in front of a judge wherein he has decent legal representation. Aren't you his legal representation? I rest my case, Your Honor. What the hell?
It trampled all over the Constitution of the United States, and it was an abomination. It was something I would have expected to see come out of a third world country.
Or really? Really? He's got that kind of an office and a strip mall customer doorbell?
The president obviously been removed from all social media. Can I just ask what his reaction was? I'm sure you've spoken.
We've spoken. Our communications are protected by the attorney-client privilege, but it's fair to say he was quite pleased.
That he's not, yeah. What, you think he's going to be upset?
Please, okay, I expect as much.
Yeah?
House managers in this thing tried to add witnesses there in the 11th hour. It was that moment where we were all thinking, is this thing really going to go another week or two? They wanted to subpoena a congresswoman about the conversation with Kevin McCarthy. I was wondering, could you tell us what exactly happened behind closed doors? Because they were pushing for it, and then they came back, and Schumer had his tail between his legs.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Sure. It was a desperate move. We had all week long been told that they didn't want a witness. They were afraid of witnesses.
They were afraid of witnesses. They kept bringing it up. I'm afraid of witnesses. No, anything but witnesses.
They were, because there were no witnesses that could help their case in any
Well, because the president wouldn't testify and refused to show up.
way. The night before, there was a stipulation. Mr. Brennan from our team had worked out the stipulation language. And then 10 minutes beforehand, they pulled the stipulation. 10 minutes before we walked into the Senate chamber to close the case out, they pulled away the stipulation. And, that was fine. We'd had them like a wounded animal in a corner.
Right, that you'd staked down and shot because it couldn't actually move like it needed to escape being shot.
And dying. Their case was dying. And we took they were taking their last swipe trying to breathe life into the case, and they couldn't. Their case died in the.
I love people who literally think they've won when it was a cave.
Corner. But as soon as they tried to go for the witness thing, they realized that there were hundreds of witnesses that we really needed to call to prove that they had no case at all. They knew that. And so, they backed down. Yeah. The whole thing was political theater. There was nothing to their case. But the real story should
tell us the real story.
Be in this. Why did they doctor the evidence?
What are you talking about? You played a fight video that went on for you played it 4 times just to fighty.
Their case was so strong.
Right.
Why was it that they manipulated the video?
They didn't. They played it and then they showed the audience reaction.
Recreated tweets that tried to purport to be something that they weren't.
They didn't.
The real outcry from the country should be, why did our House managers fabricate evidence? And who's going to do something about that?
Fabricating evidence because they did mock-ups of the tweets and put them on a screen. Stuff that the president actually said.
And sir, we can go back. I actually wanted to.
We're still working on. We have a lot more that you did.
I wanted to bring up because you had a moment with on CBS.
There's more we're working on it.
Oh no, they were printing up somebody put. What he's talking about, by the way, they showed the screens or whatever because somebody was making blow-ups of them and making them like, this is the date, this is the thing, and they accidentally put 2021 instead of 2020 instead of 2021 because they weren't photocopies of it. They were showing specific parts of it. Again, this is like the stuff about Schiff lying about what Trump said on the perfect phone call when he entered in the text of the actual phone call and then was paraphrasing going, this is like a gangster who says, do what I say or you're going to get hurt.
Sure, yeah. I want to play this moment here real quick. This is something that happened over the weekend with CBS. Let's go ahead and play the clip.
Oh, I think this is him on CBS.
What you're talking about now is a check mark. That's a verification on Twitter that did not exist on that particular tweet. A 2020 that should have actually read 2021.
Which it did on the final piece, because the person who was making the slides. Right.
And the selective editing, you say, of the tapes. Is that how? Is that the doctored evidence of what you're speaking?
That's not enough for you? That's not enough for you?
Wait, no,
sir,
no.
Listen,
I am not a juror in this trial. What I'm trying to be clear for our viewers is what you're referring to, because not everybody has been following.
He can't not be a dick to her is the issue here. She's like, so this is what you're bringing up. So we're clarifying. These are the 3 points.
It's not okay
not everybody,
to doctor
sir,
a little bit of evidence. Respectfully.
I mean, she didn't want to let you get a word in on that, but do you guys think...
You jumped on her when she was just going, so these are your 3 points that you have concerns about. Why don't you tell me about those? And before you got to the why don't you tell me about those parts, he jumps down her throat because he knows he's on the losing side.
If you guys had doctored evidence in that same fashion...
You mean like the multiple fight video?
Do you think it would have
Where
been...
you cut off all the things that people were like, fight for 15? We need to fight for $15 minimum wage, that kind of stuff. You know, like a real fight. You know, like a fight club for a minute. They just cut off the word club.
Marginalized by the media in the same way.
First of all, if we had ever doctored evidence, if Donald Trump's lawyers were caught doctoring evidence, what do you think the storyline would be nationally, globally?
You just didn't bring any evidence at all because you knew the fix was in.
I can't believe it's not really going that way.
Yeah.
But I want to say one thing. That reporter and I were talking back and forth, and with the time delay, it appeared we were talking over each other.
You were talking over her.
A little bit more than we did.
No,
candidly, she actually gave me a good amount of time to say what I wanted to say.
Right. That's what she was intending to do from the first place. In the first place, you were just being a prick.
About the media. She listened to it. And I think
CBS was actually nice, followed through, when she said respectfully, she actually meant it. But it was nice of Rob Shit on Newsmax, that's how it's pronounced, right? To call you on here to like play that clip, but not the part where it evened out that you're discussing right now, just the part where it looks like all the rest of the news media took a big shit on you.
Understood that.
By the way, this guy wants another career after this thing, and it's going to be very hard. So he's just kissing ass every direction.
I was saying.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. And I'm glad you said that. I want to say one thing. There's
Let me ask him a question. Would you let your doctor work on you if you had a 43% success rate or a 57? Right. That's a landslide. That's a win.
no common ground on this verdict at all. There are a lot of people that feel the way that you and the president feel about this. And then there's a whole bunch of people, including Republicans, that say it's clear as day that the president incited an insurrection. Why is Mitch McConnell wrong? Why are these Republicans wrong? Why are the Democrats wrong? And so many other people.
Well, that's a nice premise. I like when the news goes, tell me exactly what I want to hear.
Well, politicians will say just about anything they need to say in front of
Yeah, unlike lawyers.
Your cameras, if they think it's going to help them personally. There was no evidence.
Well, it would only help them personally if their voters think they're right.
Of incitement. When you took the facts of the case and applied it to the law, our Constitution, there was no case at all. And
yeah, there is. Yes, there is. Most of the people who voted against it thought that they used the safety of the bullshit unconstitutional argument because he was no longer in office. But all of them know full well he was guilty of what he did. Even the ones like Ted Cruz and Rand Paul who were helping you do it.
Everybody understood that there was no case. This really was political.
If there was no case, then why did you need Ted Cruz and Rand Paul's help every single day?
Theater. That's all it was. It was about.
Yes, it was political theater. And that's why I'm sitting here in this giant hand-carved wooden chair in front of a bunch of legal books and probably a fireplace with a leather outline on it, and my gun/liquor cabinet/front door or whatever the shit that is, because it's political theater. But I'm just twirling my glasses, sitting in this this Rudy Giuliani smokehouse.
9 House managers getting in front of the cameras, making speeches, rotating it about every 20 minutes or so.
Sure.
You guys rotated.
Playing up to the cameras.
He was the one playing to the cameras. Literally, none of the Democrats looked at the camera that was on the floor and spoke directly to it. None of them were. They were all talking to the House. And he is literally the only one who went, "This is ridiculous," to the actual camera. You guys remember that? I mean, if you're going to drop these kind of insults or bombs, or you think they're actually going to accomplish anything, don't call out people who didn't do what you did as if it's an asshole thing to do.
And putting really the health of this nation before their own personal interests.
Okay.
But enough about the people who tried to stop the counting of the electoral votes when they knew a mob was coming.
Yeah, fair enough.
Somebody's got to look into what they did with the evidence and why.
Yeah.
Okay. They entered in the actual evidence into the record purely, and then they displayed elements of it that they thought were crucial. What part of... They literally created a map out, and all the footage that they had available was played of the insurrection on the 6th, of where people were, what time Trump knew that Mike Pence was in danger, what he tweeted when he knew it, as if Mike Pence was already dead, and then what he tweeted afterwards and how long it took him.
Okay. All right. I want to say one thing. You made a statement at the very end during your closing argument that I thought was really impactful.
Yes, it's fabulous. Play it.
We're going to go ahead and play it now.
Yeah.
As a nation, we must ask ourselves, how did we arrive at this place where rioting and pillaging would become commonplace?
Are they commonplace? Because I went to the grocery today, and my girlfriend and I ran a couple of errands, and it was weird to go out, quite frankly. We do it very infrequently. Zero rioting. Zero. I mean, obviously, if we all lived in Portland, that'd be a different thing. It's literally part of the traffic patterns. But it's not commonplace. As a matter of fact, the George Floyd-related racial unrest had died down immensely until, on Election Day, when the president knew he was going to lose, he started ginning up this idea that we got to stop the steal. We got to do this. Like, they didn't blend into other riots. The rioters at the Capitol didn't have to make it through another rioting crowd to get to this riot. Like, guys, I'm late for a riot. Can you just wait for the light? It's okay. Well, this riot light takes forever. Is there a riot turn on red rule? I don't know.
I submit to you that it was month after month of political leaders and media personalities bloodthirsty for ratings.
Bloodthirsty for ratings. That's why they were fomenting the George Floyd riots. Why that's his allegation. Not that we were trying to overturn the country. Not that this wasn't an insurrection. It was apparently just it makes good TV. Can you tell who his client is and what his client believes? Why they had a mind meld? Why they seem to have a good vibe together? Who the fuck wants riots just for the ratings? All right.
So talking.
Wait, that was it? That bloodthirsty for ratings is the anchor on this?
About the riots from last year, you put a lot of blame on riots from last year on the media and
it's Fox's fault. I blame Newsmax.
Democrats and what they've done, and I think that's a really good point. Excuse me.
Did he just fart? Wait, back up. Hold on. Excuse me. We need to make sure we didn't miss anything. Please, sir, if you will, let's hear that what that was.
Bloodthirsty for ratings.
So talking about the riots from last year, you put a lot of blame on riots from last year on the media and Democrats and what they've done. And I think that's a really good point. Excuse me. I want to ask, though, if you look at this thing, if this would have been a conviction for President Trump, what would it have done to the First Amendment and to political speech in this country if the president had been convicted?
Right. Tell us.
It would have continued to have a chilling effect on our politicians. It would have eroded the.
Yeah, I agree. It should have a chilling effect on our politicians. If you're getting so heated that you drive a riotous mob to the center of our democracy, maybe cool out. Well, thanks, Amy. My hair's looking pretty full today. I don't know why, but the camera seems darker on this setup. Maybe it's just the kind of renewed setup that I have currently. Let's see if I can brighten this up because I feel like I'm just darker than everything. I'm gonna bring it up a little. Is that better? There you go. There's me. So here we go. Sorry.
Faith of our citizens.
A little behind the scenes, a little production love. Nothing wrong with that.
In
I'm sorry. I'm at the point where just seeing Trump walking around makes me laugh.
our government, and it would have continued
Well, he did his jacket fluffle. He farted as he left the room.
to degrade the strength of our Constitution.
Degrade? Shit, did I just learn a new word? Degrade. Degrade? Degrade. Please tell me that's a real word and I just learned it. Degrade. Oh, degrade. Degradation. Degradate? All right. Degrade. Shit.
Say something about the riots from the summer.
Yeah, just opine on that for us, white guy in hand-carved office.
The riots from the summer, just like the attack on the Capitol.
Just like the attack on the Capitol. Okay. One, because George Floyd had been killed, Breonna Taylor, other things were coming up, and they felt like the police were actually killing black people, and so black people and their supporters were acting out or just peacefully protesting. And then alongside of that, there was a sidecar of Boogaloo Boys and other people who were looting and rioting, causing physical damage. And that's like the Capitol rioters,
are from a small percentage of people on the fringe on both the left and the right. The vast majority of the people who protested this summer did so peacefully.
Right.
And did so justifiably in their own minds and hearts. And this country is built on peaceful protest.
Right.
It's a right.
And that's who all the Democratic politicians were talking about. They were discussing people who were, because of how they felt in their hearts and minds, their rage at what was happening, they were protesting peacefully, the vast majority of them. But by supporting the vast majority of them, you painted a picture that they were bloodthirsty because they weren't actually praising the people who were, 95% peaceful, that they were actually supporting the 5% that were violent. And by you being able to make that lie, you can make the lie that Trump was actually not talking to the ones that got violent, that he was sending to be violent, but he was talking to the ones who were too lazy or had never been to D.C. before and wanted to go to have snacks.
Thing to do. It's just that the violence is conducted by outlaws, and as President
Outlaws, hooligans.
Trump would tell you, they need to be punished under the fullest and maximum extent of the law, no matter what side you're on, and no matter.
Yeah, that's literally Biden's position. Except Trump didn't say that. Trump didn't say anybody who engaged in violence at the Capitol should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. He said, we love you. You go home,
or what cause you're on.
remember this day forever.
Yeah.
Protest is protest. It's the American way. Violence is the way of a third world country.
That's exactly.
Really? That's what third world countries are known for? I thought they were known for doing all the toxic production that first world countries need to keep their economies afloat.
Exactly right. The Democrats have a big problem condemning violence on their side, though. They were
Oh, do we? Do we now? Hey, guys, ever? Nope.
quick to condemn, the wackos that went into the Capitol.
The wackos.
On our side, I think we've condemned it
All right.
roundly with everybody.
Wackos on your side? I'm glad you said that.
And we did so almost immediately.
Almost.
We knew that these people were in the wrong, and that there's a point to be made there. I want to say,
Yeah. What part of Biden saying anybody that looting and rioting are not part of peaceful protest and anybody who breaks the law should be punished to the fullest extent of the law? What part of that throughout the entirety of the summer confuses you?
say one more thing.
No, I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Right.
I do think that people were very we gave comfort to violent riots. Even I think it's a real problem in the country.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they gave comfort to it.
what I don't want to do is blame one side or the other. What we really need to do is we need to have the left and the right come a little bit closer to each other and start addressing the national priorities, shared priorities of our.
You mean what Biden has been saying? Literally, are these assholes just going to crib stuff from Biden to make themselves look morally sound out of nowhere now? Is that what's happening?
Country, we need to move forward in a way of peace
Kumbaya, my lord.
and
Kumbaya, intelligence,
for our
progress.
people.
For
These
people
govern us. They govern our lives.
and they
make an
govern
impact
our
on all of us, the
lives.
citizens.
Yep.
And they need to become a lot more responsible down in Washington. Washington's broke. I was there 8 days, man. Washington's broke. Somebody needs to go down and fix the thing.
I know. We talk.
Washington's broke. Somebody needs to go. I mean, I don't know who was there. It's like an Airbnb after a shithouse rat stayed there for a long weekend. Honestly, after 4 years of Trump, that place is a friggin' wreck.
About it every day. It's become a joke. It really has. It's like.
Oh, has it? Has it? It's become a joke, has it? Where the Pentagon is, where the Capitol is, where the White House is. It's become a joke over the last 4 years. Fish stinks from the head, is it not?
Satire.
Yeah.
The right to an attorney, one of the most sacred guarantees in this country. And
I sound like Sammy Davis Jr. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
are in law. And your wife found in your driveway during this trial, somebody had spray painted traitor right there on the drive.
Yeah, it's weird. It looks like something that those people who believe that you don't support Trump would write. That you were literally a deep state operative, and that's why you were such a failure. They thought you were going to lose the case.
Yeah, we had a lot more than that happen to our home.
Tell us about it and tell us how
Yeah, tell us what happened and who did it. Did you catch anybody? Or did you just find your wife with a can of red spray paint?
you guys are doing with that.
What are you guys doing with that?
We're doing.
We're not too worried. I mean, we live up a long driveway in a gated community, and we know the person who spray painted it, and he gave us a good deal.
Fine. I've moved my children to a secreted location.
A secreted location. You've moved your children. Your biological children, or your Pizzagate kids that you use as currency in the Epstein economy? What?
We have hired armed guards to protect our places
Places. That must be nice.
of living and working.
Yeah.
And we're doing fine. My family understands, and my law firm understands that we fight on the side of right, and we take on causes that aren't always popular
Amongst Republicans who are armed.
with anybody.
Yeah, he secreted his children away.
But that's our obligation to really go out and defend the Constitution.
That's right.
Defend what's right.
Yeah.
and
He's totally lying. This is bullshit.
and back down wrong whenever we come up against it.
Back down wrong whenever we come up against it. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Do you, I mean, honestly, do these guys sound like aliens that are pretending to speak English? Like literally space aliens who like learned grammar by touching the head of a redneck?
Michael Vanderveen, impeachment attorney for the president. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, it's all right. I got plenty of it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
So good. You just watched an amazing segment on Newsmax, and it's wonderful. Okay, check this out. Okay, well, let's see. Do we want to go there first, or we do want to go? I'm going to make sure that these actually work. Yipe. Okay, a funny break for a second, if I may. Okay, so Can't Stop Lying sent me this one. I have not watched it, but this dude who looks like Glenn Beck had surgery to look like he thinks Trump looks. But this is about the prophecy. This is how the Lord wants us to know how President Trump is still in command. All the prophets they've had on have been completely fucking wrong so far, but at this point, they've really, this is the real prophecy. That other prophecy was not the prophecy. Yeah. So and that's a fresh blonde dye job right there. That is sweet pickles. That is literally, he picked a color that matches his logo. Grabbed a yellow out of that. Either that or their cameras just have a very narrow color spectrum. Hold on. Watch this.
Let me show
I've not watched anything but like just to test the audio of this.
you what's going on. Let's roll that B-roll of
Yeah, let's roll some B-roll of prophecies. Let's do this, please.
what's going on in D.C. right now.
Oh, this is the wall. Okay. But by the way, they're showing this around and they're going, this is terrible. They're doing all kinds of stuff behind closed doors. So they've locked the people out so they can't, I don't know, storm the fucking castle and kill everybody. But this is all these gates and all that stuff, and the guards are still up and still there because on March 4th, these idiots, the QAnon idiots and the militia types, think that Trump is going to be inaugurated as the 19th president of the United States following Ulysses S. Grant. And that they're putting these walls up because Biden legally, because he's not the real president, can't enter the White House or the Pentagon. And they're keeping people out until they can keep this from happening past a certain date. Good God. What color's that guy? He looks like cheddar cheese. He does. He's got he's the cheesiest.
We've got record snowfall, if I remember correctly. We've got
If you remember correctly.
snowfall across the eastern seaboard. It's colder than it's ever been. I think Pastor Hank was telling me you got up in Nebraska up to -6 today. You've got some things about snow, but on this
You've got some things about snow. We're going to talk about it later. The Eskimos have 1,000 words for it. That seems like a lot. I could get by with like 10, like crunchy, sleety, slushy, sticky, fluffy, dopey, and doc.
program, we told you about this in prophecy. It happened.
Wait a minute. You prophesied snow?
Watch.
Oh, boy.
And then watch!
No, God. Don't say watch and then say watch like that. What the fuck? Dude. Hold on. Please. That was too shocking. Everybody grab a hold of something.
It happened. Watch.
And then watch!
Soup.
It's my fifth.
By the way, this guy is one of the, snazziest magicians working today. Now watch as the ball disappears from my hand. Check your pocket, my friend. Please soundbite that. Watch!
Fist has been raised up over this nation.
Watch as my fist has been raised up over this nation? What? Are you fisting the nation? That doesn't seem appropriate.
See, it happened. Watch.
And then watch! as my fist has been raised up over this nation.
My fist is been raised. All right. You know, Jesus wasn't big on grammar. He didn't even speak English. Expiation. That's right. It is. It's a not safe for work pastor. Yeah, fist him. Fist him for Jesus. Fist it. Give us the fist.
That the injustice and the
injustices.
evil that they say shall stand, I will smack down.
Oh, better watch out.
And I will strip
Oh, get dirty. Come on.
what they think shall stand.
What they think shall stand. I will slap down and what?
I have the wind in my fists.
Oh boy, do ya! I've heard that. If you listen again, I don't know if you guys heard that. Hold on, real quick. I don't know if you heard it the first time, but you'll hear it this time. Hold on.
Watch.
And then watch as my fist has
See
been
that?
raised up over this nation.
Yeah, Lord.
That the injustice and the evil that they say shall stand, I will smack down and I will strip what they think shall stand. I have the wind in my fists. Pay attention to the winds. Keep your eyes upon the shores of the east. Keep your eyes upon the cities of the east, even around your capital. For great force winds shall come, and snow shall fall. For I dealt, as my scripture declares in the book of Psalms,
Is this Jesus' weatherman?
I dealt with wicked kings while it was snowing in Salmon. Pay attention.
Shut up! I'm trying to focus.
I will show you once again
Uh-oh.
where the snow falls.
On the ground.
Pay attention to your capital.
I am the Lord's groundhog.
Pay attention to those places upon the east.
Uh-huh.
That I am in fact dealing with injustice. Pay attention, for it snows, it shall mark a cleansing.
Yes, it is. The snow is marking a cleansing. Trump leaves, snow falls, nicey nice.
I have heard the sounds of the cries of my children.
Mm-hmm.
I heard them.
I heard him.
And I had those prayers brought before my throne. And they were filled with bowls. The prayers of the saints.
Bowls of the prayers of the saints.
For you, United States. And they are being poured out.
Uh-oh.
And you will see it. I have not forsaken you. I have not forsaken this nation.
Mm-mm.
Stand! You will see the salvation of your God.
Stand and you will see the salvation of your God. All right.
So get on your feet, people. Stop yelling butthole. Yeah, who was that in the background? Why would anybody just yell that in church? That's not appropriate. Look to the east, where it always snows, where snow is often to come. Texas, that caught me off guard. But you know where it normally snows this time of year? Look there. And after Trump has been driven from office and has failed multiple times and someone else has been anointed, the prayers will be answered that God will cleanse the land. I'm just saying this doesn't sound like a very pro-Trump prayer.
Pastor Hank.
Pastor Hank? What happened to Pastor Mustard?
We talk about snow, and that's a sign.
Ah! Oh, he's there. Jesus Christ.
We can get so hung up on words of prophecy that many times we miss the meaning of what we're supposed to look
Yeah, some words just stick with you.
for. We tend to focus on, oh, look, there was snow, but that's more. There's more to it than just a sign, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. The fact that there's snow on the East Coast when they said there would be in winter.
Exactly. Well, let me just start off by the elements are speaking.
They are. We speak to giant tree. Leaves and apples fall. Tell us gravity, not to be fucked with. Never run off a cliff like Wile E. Coyote. End up big on ground.
And many times, even the prophet Elijah, the sign was drought, the sign was rain. And
so Biden gets elected. There's obviously a wailing and gnashing of teeth, but then he takes office and suddenly there's a cleansing snow. Is that how it works?
so God was specifically saying, and I think we have to listen to what the prophecy said. First of all, it was day.
And by listen to what the prophecy said, I meant listen to what I said and give money to my ministry. If you weren't following that last part, stand!
Days and weeks before
When I was fisting the heavens, there was
you're seeing playing out in D.C. and the East Coast, there wasn't forecast of snow when the prophecy came. But God said there would be
Did you give us a date? Did you give us a time?
snow as a sign of, notice David said, wash me and I'll be whiter than snow. It's a sign of cleansing. The other thing that God said is the snow would be a sign that I'm not forsaking the nation.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, Trump, God isn't going to hold Trump against us. He's moved on. He's left office. He'll face his crimes, and America can move on, and we don't have to. So you're saying that God was saying, I'll take care of Trump, move on, and try to build a better, more just nation? Is that where you're going?
The third thing he said is
there's more. Is get your fist out of my face, I think is what he said.
Snow would mark the fact that I have, in fact, heard the prayers of my people crying out for this nation. And the fourth thing is...
Really? That's how he lets you know it snows? Shit, remind me never to pray in summer. Lord, answer my prayers. I'm just saying a Tesla Cybertruck would be really cool. And, my truck's great, don't get me wrong. But it's getting, I would rather have something electric, something better for the environment, and yet that would look good in the apocalypse. So let me know if I'm going to get that. I will wait as long as September. If it hasn't snowed by then, I'll talk to a leasing agent.
Psalm 68:14, where God said in his word that he scattered or he dealt with wicked kings when it was snowing in a place called Zalman. It was a sign that the snow falling, especially in D.C., God
was dealing with wicked kings. He was casting Trump out of the sacred space that is Washington, in the nation that has his blessing. I'm assuming you believe that. And so by casting Trump out and cleansing the land, he was dealing with wicked kings by relegating him to a tinier kingdom in the sort of drippy penis tip of Florida. Is that am I on the ball here, folks?
God is dealing with the injustice. Don't think for a moment the puppet show and the circus and what they're staging is going to last. And don't think that it's taking God, off guard. No,
no, it's not. Never. No, God's never caught off guard. I'm gonna guess.
Dealing with it, and the snow is the natural sign. But let me say this last.
He's still dealing with it. God's busy. That's all the thing is. One of his giant tentacles, because obviously he doesn't have just hands to work with. I mean, he's God, so he's permeate in and of all things. So he's obviously not really a humanoid looking creature, even though he forms into one to give us kind of a reflection to ourselves. And of course, all animals believe God looks like them because he delivers himself to them in their different stages of development in those forms. And of course, yeah. But in his natural state, he's post-temporal, beyond time and space, and therefore... and pre-temporal, I guess beyond temporal. You can't be pre or post something you're not a part of, right? It's like God can't even grasp forever because forever actually is a mitigated form of a concept of time, and God being beyond time is. Never mind. Let's go back to what he was saying. I like his eyebrows.
One of the things that they said.
What did they say?
Is that it ended a snow drought that had been in D.C.
A snow drought. Shit, we had a snow drought.
think about this. The prophet Elijah stands up and says, I hear the sound of the abundance of rain, and it ended the drought that was declared. And after that, things began to get very, very interesting, and judgment came very strong to Jezebel. I believe that that's...
Oh, so the snow is an indicator that someone that is like unto Jezebel, meaning a base, depraved kind of a human, given to, sexual sinning in particular, is about to get their comeuppance? I'm sure Trump has nothing to worry about it. I hear the sound of victory. All right.
Sign of the snow is also an end of a drought, but also it's the enforcing of God's hand.
This is good, though. This is good stuff. I feel so much
that's going to deal
snow drought about it.
very harshly with the spirits of darkness over this nation and those that cooperated with it.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, amen. Hold on. I love how they're like, yeah, amen. As you do. Good Lord. All right. So we'll jump back to this business. This is Huckabee's breakdown. I'm not getting too long, am I? Okay, I'm good. I thought I was getting on. Yeah. That was only 5 minutes. I thought we could buy a little time for ourselves and enjoy it. Good Lord. Amen. You know what I'm saying. Whatever. Jesus, amen, and blah, blah, blah. I'm a whore. Well, congrats. Oh, God. What was that?
Our Democrat leaders and other political enemies of former President Trump might want to put him on trial. But most Americans just simply do not.
So
most don't care to even watch this stuff.
Most don't care when crimes outside of their attention span actually happen. But if they were a part of it, if they felt like it acted upon them, or they had the breakdown of the case, if you walk up and go randomly, there's a guy he's on trial for murder. They said he did this. I think most of us go, and there's a lot of trials about stuff. Does it affect me, or what are the details of the case? Am I any closer to knowing whether it's true or not before or after the trial? Call me after the trial. If he's not guilty, he'll get off, and if he is guilty, if he gets declared guilty and he isn't, there'll be an appeal, and then people will reach out and say that this man was unjustly, and then I'll check, because there's people to feed, right?
Stuff. According to a new Rasmussen poll, just 15% of likely voters, repeat, likely voters, plan to even watch the whole impeachment trial.
Only 15% plan to watch the whole impeachment trial. So we're going on ratings now.
Those did say they...
You know what, guys? I think I figured out why we're not putting more rapists behind jails, because nobody just wants to watch the televised rape trials. You know what I mean? We should really gussy them up. So, just actually have everybody dress sexily. Dress like it happened on the night, when on the evening that it occurred. Well, that's a great idea. In a murder trial, maybe we should just have the defendant reenact how he thinks it all went down. It'll gussy up the ratings. Maybe people will start to, our white collar crime, like the Enron trials. Nobody wanted to watch the Enron trials all the way through. So obviously that meant it didn't matter.
They would check in from time to time, but 32% said they would not watch any of it. Only
because it wouldn't affect them. So
31% thought that Trump would likely be convicted. Another 64 said a conviction.
Yeah, that's a big reason why they weren't watching, because they thought the fix was in. Spoiler alert. I have a new series called Spoiler Alert. At the beginning, we're going to tell you how every episode turns out before you watch. You're going to know full well how it's very predictable. Are you interested in watching? Gee, only 15% said they would watch an episode all the way through. I just like the characters.
Conviction was unlikely, or definitely would not.
Oh, congrats, Benny Loco. Today is Benny Loco's 22nd wedding anniversary. That's fantastic. Many blessings to you, and thank you. That's the problem with New York and places like it. No diversity.
Live in large cities where much more likely to think that we'll have one of those in the suburbs. Obviously.
We're going to have a suburban civil war? Great. Potato salad versus macaroni salad. The fight has begun.
All the pushing, lying, name-calling, tweet-censoring, statue-toppling, power grab.
Yeah, it'll be like somebody's going to get kicked out of the phone tree.
And boot heel grinding by the left.
Boot heel grinding. Kinky.
is having its effect. Indeed, they seem to be deliberately goading conservatives into striking back. That way they'll have an excuse to crack down even more.
Okay, so we're goading them. If they break out into violence, it's because we're pushing them that way. And if we react to them reacting with violence, it's because we were pushing them to get them to do this. Because they're so dough-headed, they can't help but strike out. Is that what you're saying, Huckabee? It must be the Jesus thing. It must be just the depth of their Christianity that they can only be pushed so far off of social media before they have to murder someone.
I just pray no one is so foolish
Oh, Pence can run. He's not going to, but he can.
to take that bait. Hey, thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed that video, please.
No one did. Seriously, I didn't. Your regular viewers didn't. You got 319 rumbles. That's pitiful. That's not even, and that's been up for a few days, Huck. That's been sitting. 319 rumbles? Really? I mean, Diamond and Silk are kicking your ass. This is not good news. Hold on. So, let's see. Where's this? Oh, yeah. This one's long. I dare I get into it? Let's see. We'll jump back to this bit. Hold on. So, Bill, by the way, Jesus Christ, Bill O'Reilly has a new book out called Killing Crazy Horse. All of his books, Killing Kennedy, Killing Lincoln, Killing Jesus. Now he's got one called Killing Crazy Horse. It's this theme of like how people, like historical figures, were killed. It's fucking gross. But I do appreciate that they're using a picture from 98 for all this. I mean, this is Bill O'Reilly on whether President Trump should run again in 2024. Well, this will bring us home, I have no doubt.
Talking about the game and the calculations behind the scenes on both the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah.
Can't really figure out the end game here for the Democrats other than smearing and categorizing people.
Yeah, that's all we do, really. That's my job here. Clearly, I just smear and categorize people. You know, like I put people in like the demon rats or the democrats crowd. I basically say that anybody who believes in Black Lives Matter is a Marxist because there are Marxists who believe in Black Lives Matter. So cogito ergo sum, they overlap. Anybody who wears a black hoodie is Antifa. So clearly, what happened to Trayvon Martin was just, a pre-bash from what's going on now. It was a patriot who knew he would love Trump, looking back from, in time, traveling back in time and attacking him because he would probably grow up to be Antifa, that kind of thing. And then basically that all anybody who protests Black Lives Matter is clearly both Antifa and a rioter and a looter, categorizing. So that's what I do. I should make the donation screen larger, make it a rectangle that reaches left up to the Venmo, that would make it more readable. Well, thank you. That's a good idea. Thank you. I will do precisely that. I guess then I'd have to move this guy over here, which is not a bad idea, right? And we'll put this here, and then I'll take this down, and then I'll work on that. But I appreciate the design input, folks. Just doing that little Venmo-y thing. And then, yeah, that should, something like that. All right. Well, I'm piecing it together. We'll do it. At one point, I'll be able to get rid of my little shelf desk right here in the corner, hopefully, but it means my hand disappears sooner. Working on it. I'm working on it.
They're more than that. And on the Republican side, I've always thought that if Mitch McConnell had a chance to take Donald Trump out in the establishment, take him out, they'd go for it in a heartbeat.
Take him out. All right.
They have that
for a nice steak dinner, or you mean a double tap to the beanbag?
Opportunity, and they're not doing it. So tell me what's going on here with these
Yeah,
people.
Bill O'Reilly, you've been basically driven out of Fox News by a $30 million scandal that you paid to some woman, and still nobody knows what the hell you could have done to have to pay somebody off $30 million. I'm dead serious. If Trump and his buddies have been hiding abortions for $150,000 to $200,000 a pop for years, whatever crested past $5 million?
Parties.
All right, I'm going to fuse enlightenment with entertainment right now, so
okay.
everybody should
All
be
right.
on. Everybody should be,
All right.
with a pen and paper.
Okay.
First thing that Democrats want to do is diminish the Republican Party,
Okay, good.
and they
All right.
did that by the video, constant. Okay, look at this, and not only with these people trying to overthrow the government and harm, and they did harm people, but anybody who doesn't condemn them or is in the same boat as far as supporting Donald Trump, you're just as guilty by association, okay?
Okay, if you supported Trump, you're just as guilty as the people he sent to the Capitol to kill cops and congresspeople.
So that's number one. They want
Okay, that's number one. This is him fusing entertainment with wisdom.
to accomplish that, and according to Gallup poll out this week, did in a short-term basis support for the Republican Party is down 15%. So that was what this was all about. It wasn't about Donald Trump. As far as the big picture is concerned, they hate him. They want to hurt him as much as possible.
Yeah, it's just a personal thing. They just don't like him. You know what I mean? It's his face. It's his neck gina. It drives everybody into a rage. It has nothing to do with dropping 8,000 kids into a cartel town with no supervision after dumping them on the Mexican side of the border. It has nothing to do with 611 kids who haven't been reunited with their parents and another 800 that are lost entirely. They don't even know where the hell they are. It has nothing to do with the fact that after Epstein died, he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well and said they used to hang out in West Palm Beach. It has nothing to do with the fact that he bragged about grabbing women by the vagina. It had nothing to do with the fact that his tax break, which he said was the largest in history, which wasn't, was permanent for corporations, but temporary for individuals. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has nothing to do with him ignoring and downplaying and avoiding and evading anything requiring responsibility in the lead up to the pandemic. And then throughout it, just pathetically laying the blame on states anywhere but himself. It has nothing to do with the 27 sexual assault cases against him, including one involving a 13-year-old girl. It has nothing to do with it has, like, the fact that he and his dad wouldn't rent to black people. It has nothing to do with the fact that he went to his accounting firm one day, saw black people counting his money, and said he didn't want black people counting his money. He wanted the people with the small hats. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's an absolute phony Christian who is holding the Bible upside down in front of a church he never attended and used tear gas to get there just for a photo op. It has nothing to do with any of that. It just must be the fact that when he puts on his orange face makeup, he doesn't blend it into his neck. That's what did it. That's what really gets me. That's where my hate for the man comes from. It's where his goddamn orange face stops, right here. He just does this part and blows off. Yeah. Believe me, you don't think he's grabbing that hard? Mm-hmm.
And that is a given. But it was a calculated strategy, and we've talked about this before on
totally. Talk about how calculating it is.
The Glenn Beck program, that there are people.
What's the Glenn Beck program? I'm not familiar. Does Glenn know what show he's on right now? How would Glenn even know it's his show? Oh, right. Giant video wall in his actual office. Yeah, because you couldn't green screen something like that. You need a giant fucking video wall.
On the payroll of the Democratic Party's political action committees that come up with these kinds of strategies.
Yeah, that's what they do. You mean the Democratic National Committee has somebody who comes up with strategies? Really? Are they hiring?
And that was the strategy. Play the video over and over, loop the video. We'll have cooperation from all of our media allies to do it. The New York Times and the Washington Post will absolutely buy in and will demonize.
Wait, play the video of the Capitol riots? Yeah, because that didn't make news. We'd have forgotten about it by now if they didn't keep playing it.
Every single person who may have voted for
Thanks,
Donald
Kim.
Trump and the party in which he ran.
Well, I will tell you that I think it's fascinating that yesterday the New York Times ran an article about me, Mark Levin, Rush Limbaugh, and talk radio. It was clear targeting of talk
Absolutely.
radio.
You mean because it's specifically talking about how talk radio is now the purview of right-wing kleptocrats like yourself, who are just like ticks on the dog of insurrection?
And you know what they're doing to Fox News now? They're telling people to, and this is from the Soros tent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, the Super Jew, right. How long did it take him to hit the big Jew?
A little bit different than the
It's a little different, but basically Super Jew.
than the PACs that work for the Democratic Party. This is from the Soros people. They're saying, okay, look, call your cable company and say, look, you want to take Fox News off, and you don't want to pay that, and get them.
What? Honest to God, do you think you think Democratic activists and progressives need any help calling up their cable companies? That there needs to be a coordinated phone tree? Soros is paying everybody. He's paying the Black Lives Matter. He's arranging all these riots. And he's got to coordinate a fucking phone tree to call call Comcast. That's our strategy. Good God.
That way. And then the sponsors have always been, and you were, both of us were targets when we worked at Fox News of that.
Oh, sorry. Is that why you were driven off, Bill? Bill, why were you dropped from Fox News? Why, oh, why? Why? What could it have been? What was it? Because you started losing advertisers, Bill?
Kind of, if you sponsored the Beck or O'Reilly programs. And
Yeah, Beck, O'Reilly, Beck. You really can't tell. I mean, one of them's kind of a, I guess, religion shopped to become a Mormon and went off the deep end with his giant, chalkboards where he was convinced that, I mean, the one thing is the Soros Super Jew kind of is spider tied into everything. But Bill, I don't remember that being the reason why your show was ditched. I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my Soros check. If anybody from the Soros group is watching, I would can I have a copy of that studio? Thanks. I would like that stuff. I mean, I don't need it to be all blue. I would do a more red hue kind of a thing. And then instead of having my name up on the thing, I would just have my last name on the top, and then a charity each week that we could draw attention to, shit like that. I mean, I don't have that much screen space on here. It gets a little cumbersome. All right.
Going to put it on the internet that nobody should buy. And Okay. So
okay.
All of that's in motion. All of that is
I can't fix the volume on here. This is as loud as the shit goes. Hold on one second. Let me see if I'll bring my mic down. And then this is as loud as that piece is getting from them. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. I want the world to know I was late. That's as loud as they get. Hold on. Let me see if I can. If I add gain to this, it's going to suck. It's just their own thing. Hold on. Cancel. Let's see. Filters. Maybe. There's a gain filter on here. Maybe I'll bring it up just a touch. Oh boy. That can make it. It's too loud. There we go. Bring it down a touch. There we go. I think I'm loud now. Now we'll see if and then I'll bring me down. There you go. How about this?
Underway, and it's going to end on Monday. But Mitch McConnell, there's an interesting guy. So McConnell hates Trump. So everybody should know that. Because Trump did not defer to...
Yeah, he just hates Trump. He hates him. That's why I gave him everything he wanted.
McConnell, they weren't pals. He didn't schmooze with him, and McConnell likes that. He sees himself as the godfather of the Republican Party, but Trump didn't do it, so McConnell doesn't like him. But
I love how this is how Bill O'Reilly got his job, by the way. is the illusion of authority that he speaks with. So this is how it is, and this is how it works. This is really how it is, and there's no disagreeing. I'm right, and you're just going to have to deal with that.
The backlash against Liz Cheney in Wyoming and others who did vote to hurt Donald Trump.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the vote on the floor? Was it give him a whoopee? Was it a wedgie? Were they going to give him like an arm burn? Is that what they were going to do? They voted to hurt Trump. Really? Really? They didn't vote their conscience on how they thought the law should go? They didn't buy into the constitutional argument and that his lawyers were making? They're like, no, he did it. McConnell agrees that he did it. I just don't buy the bullshit that you can't try him now that he's out of office because then anybody could resign.
Well, it has been substantial, and as you just pointed out, McConnell knows that. And he doesn't want to get into trouble with the party. He doesn't want any more damage. Now, the Democrats would love to have Mitch McConnell turn on Trump. I mean, that would be a twofer.
Why? Trump just turned on him.
Get Trump, and will hurt the Republican Party further. So,
hype train happening right now. By the way, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hi, how are you? We're getting through this.
It's going to be the same. You're not going to have, I don't think you'll have one defection other than the 5 that,
I don't think you'll have one defection other than the 5. Fuck me.
Want Trump to experience pain anyway. The 5.
Experience pain. Look how sad is that? Who gives a shit how he feels? It's not that they're following the law. It's just that they want to hurt him. They want him to feel bad. They want him to feel sad. Good God.
5 Republican senators. I'm only going to have another because then they go back to their red states and they got problems. They'll be primaried. The people will be angry, and the next time they run, this will be center stage. And why do they need that? And why do they need to strengthen the Democratic Party?
This is such a great conversation. There was so much wisdom and entertainment in this, Bill O'Reilly. I'm sorry, I missed the part where you told us all why you left having to pay someone $30 million, though.
Why?
Why?
There's no upside to this at all. So once you have 44 Republican senators saying, look, the whole thing's not constitutional, why would they vote to boost something that wasn't constitutional? So nobody should...
Because they had the argument, the vote was that it was...
expect any kind of a different outcome. But you'll have
because the fix was in.
Cry that on Monday and Tuesday, these are all traitors. Peggy Noonan, one of the worst in the world.
Terrible.
The Wall Street Journal has already done it.
Wall Street Journal's the worst. Who owns the Wall Street Journal again? Oh, right.
She's already filed a column saying, if you don't vote for impeachment, then you're just as bad as Trump. That'll be the theme.
And does that play well over the long term? I mean,
you mean like in the next 50 years when people get a righteous look at the guy?
Donald Trump will start his own party, I believe, or people around him will start a party. And
he'll, show up and eat all the canapes?
He could run in 2024, and he will have...
Of his own party. Please. Oh, please. Please, Donald Trump, if you listen to a single word I've ever said, please run. Run with your own party. Start the MAGA party. Please do this. Glenn wants you to do it. Bill wants you to do it. I want you to do it. Everybody wants you to do it. Except the Republicans. But run. Everybody, but the weak-kneed, pathetic Republicans, the one who didn't support you. Run. Start the MAGA party. MAGA Patriots, the MAGAPriots party. Run, please, God. Please, God, run for... He's not going to. I don't know what Glenn's favorite color is. I don't know. Oh, God. Please run.
He will have some control over a lot of people and how they vote. With between him on one side squeezing the Republicans and the Democrats on the other, what happens to the unity in the party?
Uh-oh.
Well, I can't speak for Donald Trump. I don't know what his mindset is. I know he kind of lost perspective after the election, and that has...
He lost perspective? Is that what he did? It's not that he was fomenting a situation where literally members of our representative government would be murdered for doing their job. It's that he just lost perspective. He was
hurt him historically, and there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt. There's no debate. He lost perspective. He lost discipline. He didn't have a lot of discipline to begin with, but what little he had went flying right out the window because he was so shocked, and he was, that he lost. But wait,
yeah, Glenn, hang on, okay? He's going to turn this around and make it the Democrats' fault. Don't worry.
Donald Trump, I don't know what his perspective is. I don't.
Well, join the rest of us.
Know what he wants to do.
Okay, wait. Before you go on that, let me take the first part of that and probe.
Yeah, which part was the first part?
A little deeper on. He lost perspective.
Right.
As you know, I turned into a big supporter, and
you've gotten bigger over the years.
Fundraiser for him. I mean, not fundraiser, but I donated to his legal campaign.
Oh, so you paid some of the bills of Mar-a-Lago, you mean? Because if you didn't give $8,000 or more, it didn't actually go to his legal fund.
And
this is a lot of fine print on that page.
Really believed that he was the right choice for America.
Mm-hmm.
At the end,
yeah, but Glenn, let's look at all the other choices you've made in your life. You're on radio every day. You're a millionaire, and you're fucking miserable. I seriously, kids, folks at home. I'm not being mean. This is all his behavior. Did you not hear the conversation he had about how he has nothing but Coke in his fridge? Oy, God. Glenn has this studio, I think, on his property. He has an enormous, he's very wealthy. And he's fucking miserable every day. Even when Trump was in power. They were getting everything they want. Imagine having all you could ask for in those terms and the freedom to do your job to the extent you wanted to do it every day or not. And you're just, imagine living that way.
And if I were just to judge him on that day, I thought that was a reprehensible performance. Ben Sass, and I don't know if I believe this or not, but Ben Sass says he talked to people in the White House who said that for a while Trump was gleeful about what was.
Which is why, I mean, I don't know why you're upset about that, Glenn. Why would you and Bill be upset at Trump for being gleeful? I mean, let the guy have a little glee. I mean, obviously, he was feeling the glee the most when Mike Pence was in danger of having his brains blown all over the Capitol floor. And then I guess his corpse hung. I don't know what the syntax of it was going to be that day. And of course, as his supporters beat a cop to death and trampled another one of his supporters to death, and several of them had heart attacks and died on the steps. That's when he was gleeful. That was the glee period. If he was an artist, that would be Trump's glee period.
Was happening at the Capitol.
Because he didn't understand what was happening.
Well, what didn't he understand? He's the president of the United States. He had access to every security cam in the Capitol.
Okay, so, but if that's true, should a guy like that be president?
No. You're welcome.
Well, look, Donald Trump did good things for America.
Yeah, one of them wasn't being gleeful as cops were being beat to death, and one of his own supporters was shot by a Secret Service agent coming through a busted window.
Yes, 72 million people recognize that.
Right.
And voted for him. All right.
Well, 60 million of them vote Republican every time.
That's history, too.
Right.
Once he was...
yeah, I mean, a lot... O.J. Simpson had a shit ton of fans. I mean, not only was he an amazing football player, but he did surprisingly well in the Naked Gun series. He was a recurring character. He was good with physical gags. It became a running gag just how injured he became. That was literally harming his character. And it was, for a guy that macho to allow himself to be a foil in a movie like that repeatedly, shows a lot of class. And a lot of people loved him. He was the Hurt spokesman. He was a classic NFL player that everybody referenced. He was the juice, man. Up until that part where allegedly many people believe, in spite of the fact that he, was not convicted and a wrongful death case found the other way, possibly may have nearly chopped his ex-wife's head off. Up until that point, though, he did a lot of good things for Hertz, the Naked Gun series, and NFL, right?
Disappointed.
Up until the BTK killer was caught, he was a fantastic park ranger.
Shockingly disappointed in the outcome of the November 3rd vote.
Yeah, it's not really. Who hasn't been through a situation where they didn't call for an armed insurrection?
Donald Trump then shut down. He shut down mentally and emotionally.
Yeah,
he did. What do you mean? Yeah,
he did.
Okay.
What do you know? Neither of these assholes were there. What do you mean? What do you mean shut down mentally and emotionally?
So that's the truth.
By the way, because he lost an election, he shut down mentally and emotionally. Wait, COVID, you can skate. He golfed as hundreds of thousands of Americans died when he said we had 12 cases, we had 15 cases, and we're going to go down to 0. He golfed through that shit. But he loses the election and he mentally breaks and emotionally breaks down. And that's who you want. You want to give him the nuclear football back. Glenn Beck is miserable. He's a miserable person.
That's what happened.
I don't know if you've met him. I've met him. He's a miserable person.
So you could have done this. You could have raised questions about the validity of the vote in a disciplined way.
Mm-hmm.
You could have, but Trump couldn't. He was emotionally and mentally breaking down. So let's get him back in there.
And he didn't. So all he had to do was basically say, I would like analytics done in Philadelphia.
That's all he needed to say. I would like analytics done in...
to see what the odds are, and in Pennsylvania.
The odds? What are you talking about, the odds?
That I have a 600,000 vote lead when the polls close, and I lose by 150,000. What are the odds of that analytically?
The odds are based on how many outstanding votes there are and the number of mail-in votes that came in, and the fact that half the electorate voted in person, 80-20, and the other half voted by mail, 80-20, in the other direction. Of that 80-20 that was still outlying, especially in Philadelphia and places like that, the 80% that was voting for Biden eclipses that 120,000 vote difference. It was actually greater. If you do the odds are that even they weren't curing ballots in the red districts. They were only curing ballots in the Democratic districts in places like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Erie. And so the red districts were literally throwing Democratic votes out in an attempt to cut down the number of votes going to Biden by over-criticizing signatures and the like and not calling people up and going, do you really sign this, Dave? And Dave goes, yeah, I did. Well, tough shit. We're throwing it out anyway, so I don't believe you. Click.
$1 million to one, 10 million to one. And then I'm going to ask the FBI to do forensics on certain voting machines in certain areas. Just as a
precaution. Yeah. I'm just going to, I couldn't have lost. I'm just going to ask forensics. I'm just going to ask the FBI to step in.
Assure the American people that we didn't have fraud. Now, if he had gone on that way, a disciplined way, and made it about the country, not him, number one, we might have gotten some answers about the election.
Yeah.
But we didn't get any.
I think the problem is, and I think there are at least 75 million Americans who can kind of relate to this, That guy didn't flinch for 4 years. Constant.
Didn't flinch. Didn't flinch. He whinged every goddamn day. What do you mean didn't flinch? He was completely weak during all of it. He pissed off to golf all the time. He literally talk about flinching, during the pandemic, if he got criticized by any governors, he would stop sending them supplies. What do you mean didn't flinch?
Under attack by lies, and called a conspiracy.
Well, no, you're saying they're lies.
Thought was going to happen.
Right.
I mean,
what? It never in a million years thought was going to happen. He thought it all summer. He was looking at the polls.
no, I know the man.
Yeah, and
He's not a violent man. He's never had a violent episode in his life.
And
Yeah, because he's incapable of violence. You don't get points for not being violent when you're a total cream puff.
the right, you wouldn't expect it necessarily, because the right has never done that.
Right.
At
I
least
didn't
in the
expect
last.
it.
Yeah, the right has never done that. I mean, except for the 6. In the last 24 hours.
15
Did
years.
you expect it?
No.
Did you expect it?
No.
No.
All right. I think I'm a pretty savvy guy, and I think
Yeah, every savvy guy I know has cost him $30 million to keep a woman quiet.
anybody listening to us right now will agree. All 100% of people listening. But yeah, I don't realize a savvy guy.
I'd like a recount.
I had no blanking clue that this might happen. None.
Which part? That he'd lose?
And neither did the FBI, and neither did the Secret Service, and neither did the Capitol Police, and neither did
the rush to the Capitol. You had no idea? The rest of us did.
the local Washington, D.C. police. No one thought it was going to happen. And when it happened, instead of being proactive, Donald Trump was shocked again. So here's an already emotionally weakened man.
Great. This is so far. By the way, again, what's the description that I've made of this dude for all the trolls and maggots who are pissed at me because I accurately described Trump as a cream puff? Listen to O'Reilly's description.
Already emotionally weakened, okay? And he's looking at this. He does not know what to do. He doesn't
Yeah,
know
he's confused. He's emotionally, mentally broken down. He's incapable of making a decision. He's making bad choices nonstop.
attack his own supporters. Okay?
He can't attack them because they'll attack him because he has nothing but lunatics as supporters. The only people who support Trump at this point are either craven and are simply doing it because they think it will benefit them politically with this nutcase group, or are they themselves insane. It is a delusion. It is a deluded state to actually think that Donald Trump was a functional president. It just simply is. It's cartoonish.
So he doesn't do anything for an hour or so.
Yeah, it just so basically, what have the Republicans given us in terms of presidents over the last 20 years? An asshole who sat dumbfounded reading My Pet Goat when the planes hit the towers, and then ultimately flew around in circles not capable of making a decision while his vice president said, shoot down the plane if it gets anywhere near D.C. That's our Republican presidents for the last little bit. So frozen by the choices presented to them. And then Trump, he loses an election, and that emotionally and psychologically destroys him so much that as people are killing cops in the Capitol and his own supporters have been shot or stomped by some of his other supporters, he can't even deal. He can't even deal with it. And this is a guy that they want to put back in office. This is the argument for he should run again.
And that was rammed down his throat. So all of these things are logical if you step back and you look at...
Logically, all of us, if we lost an election, would go, fuck the country. Let the people who ran against me or were insufficiently loyal, let them be stomped to death or beaten to death or zip-tied and shot for not standing up for me when I wanted, even though I lost fair and square. Jesus Christ. Listen to this guy. Listen, these two guys still thinks he's the better choice. They both voted for that asshole. And yet all of what Bill O'Reilly is saying is that, since the election, I knew he was falling apart. How much money does he actually have? None. He's in debt. Trump's a debt vulture. He's got operating costs, and he's probably living off the taxpayer right now.
At reality, which of course nobody wants to do because you either love Trump or you hate Trump.
Why is that your option? Can't you just view him as a human being? Can't you just view him as the cretin that he is? I mean, because in general, I don't tend to hate people. I hate what they do. But I'm always willing to give nearly anyone, obviously some people have, the debt that they owe at a certain point is too big a price to pay in general. But this isn't about like hating the man as some sort of token example of a human being. There's a lot of like daddy issues in this bullshit. Your daughters-in-law love Bill O'Reilly? Really? Why? Do they know the woman he paid off and think she deserved it? Christ almighty. Hold on. I want to look something up real quick because my computer, because I'm running, Remember the old days when I had to put my fingers on the computer to cool it off? Yeah, we're back then. We're back to that already. So, let's see. Bill O'Reilly. I should just look up $30 million. That should be easy, right? That'll bring something up, you would think. Oh, my goodness. I undershot it. Silly me. Here I thought it was $30 million. Turns out it's 32. Listen, Bill O'Reilly settled a sexual harassment claim for $32 million. I'm going to go out on a claim. If that was your settlement, you know how much money? First of all, he's making $90 million a year at Fox. But to pay a third of your income for that year, to pay how much? Christ almighty, $32 million? What did you do that the number got that high? It's always been shocking to me, that number. Because, holy shit. Former Fox News host Bill O'Reilly settled a sexual harassment claim with a former legal analyst, Liz Weil, according to a report from the New York Times. Liz Weil, report from the New York Times. The settlement is one of the biggest in recent memory, Jesus Christ, topping even the $20 million payment received by former Fox News host Gretchen Carlson, who sued the late Fox News boss Roger Ailes after alleging she was harassed. O'Reilly Factor was one of the biggest shows in cable news, earning around $326 million a year in advertising revenue. O'Reilly made $90 million in salary. But its host was forced off the air after the New York Times broke the harassment allegations earlier this year. Advertisers fled the show, and 21st Century Fox, owner of Fox News, parted ways with the host while he was on vacation in Rome visiting the Pope. Sexual harassment allegations can expose companies to serious financial harm if they don't deal with them carefully. Fox raised some eyebrows after it signed the host to a new multi-million-dollar contract, despite knowing the claim by Weil against O'Reilly. When the company renewed Bill O'Reilly's contract in February, it knew that a sexual harassment lawsuit had been threatened against him by Liz Weil, but was informed by Mr. O'Reilly that he had settled the matter personally on financial terms that he and Ms. Weil had agreed were confidential and not disclosed to the company. His new contract, which was made at the time typical for renewals of multi-year talent contracts, added protections of the company specifically aimed at harassment, including that Mr. O'Reilly could be dismissed if the company was made aware of her other allegations or if additional relevant information was obtained in a company investigation. The company subsequently acted based on the terms of this contract, meaning that the news broke about it, and then they found out, and because the news broke about it, they had to go, well, we're investigating. And their investigation went, oh, yeah, shit, he did. That it wasn't new information. O'Reilly has settled 3 cases against him personally, with the others settled by 21st Century Fox. 3 of them he did himself. What do you mean the others? If he settled 3 cases against him, with that one included, against the person, with the others settled by 20th Century Fox. According to one person familiar with the discussions, New York Times reported Wild's statement was the 6th settlement made by parties involved. You might want to tell us that earlier. In a statement from O'Reilly spokesman Mark Fabiani, he slammed the New York Times for not including an affidavit signed by Wild withdrawing her claims after she'd been paid $30 million as part of the settlement. She withdrew. Good Lord. Bill O'Reilly settled a new sexual harassment claim. Then Fox renewed his contract. Stay classy. No wonder O'Reilly knows Trump. They hang out. Jesus. Look, anybody who's is famous, male or female, or anything in between, regardless of their sexual preference or their sexual identity, or their thank you, or any variant language thereof used to describe that. Thank you. Is going to experience at some point somebody trying to cash in on that. Whether it's somebody trying to, blackmail you for something you did or something you didn't do, something that if you were caught, you'd be in trouble because even being accused of it might ruin your thing. So they settle out of court and stuff. The settling part isn't the weird part, right? There's reasons to settle stuff, just even if you think, and by the way, in case you're wondering, I've never settled a case like this. I'm speaking in the abstract. But I can understand, in theory, why you would protect yourself from, the costs of a litigation. If you think you can't afford all of that, there's something that would make you go, look, it's going to cost me $1 million to fight this in court. How about I give you $200,000 and piss off? You know what I mean? And just by it coming out in court, even if I know I'm going to win, I know you're lying, I can prove you're lying, but it'll look like I attacked somebody, and I don't want to do that. So, like that happens a lot in the industry. I know people that it's happened to, and not necessarily people I like, but I know that was the case. In the case of O'Reilly, though, that number got all the way up to $32 million before she said, yeah, okay, I'll withdraw my claim. And then she gets $32 million to withdraw the claim, and then his spokesperson like, hey, man, she withdrew. You paid her to withdraw. What are you talking about? So... that has always 32 million sounds like a deal. It does. Like at that point, when does it crest over to just go, I get half of what you make for the rest of your life? You know what I mean? It must be so bad. It must be just so awful. Yeah, I like that part of it is amazing to me. So yes. Let me see if I can find this before we're over time, but that's, it's okay. I like hanging out with you guys. It's lovely. And thanks everybody. If I'm a little choppy, that's because I'm limping by with the other computer, and it starts to get hot when it goes long, and so if I go over the 2 hours, that's where it'll start getting a little. You'll see the image get a little choppy. That's why. Just saying. So we're working on it, though. I really do. Let's see. Wow, Brent Bozel's charged. Hold on. Let me find. Where in the hickey dooper? Because here's the thing. Oh, I know where it is. Beg your pardon. I was looking at. Whoops. Don't open that. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. That happens. Okay. Where is it? There it is, Telegram. So this is, there it is. Mike Lindell was going to be on, let's see, can you see this or can I show you this? Okay, hold on. Turn this on. Quit that. Put this over here. Put this up here. How do you hide that thing? I don't want to show that. I just want to. Okay, here, I'll open this up. Okay. How do I? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just move it like this. I think it should be fine. Here you go. So, this is on Telegram. This is Michael Lindell's Telegram, where he's going to be on Hannity later. Have you ever seen a more pathetic kind of like, let's get a picture in your entire life? This literally, like, Hannity is doing the thing where, like, I could be giving you the thumbs up, or I could just be adjusting my jacket if people ask me, depending on how this goes. But his whole thing, has been his absolute spoof thing that he's been doing. This is the weird part. Let's see. Is the his stay well and blessings and his glory. There it is. So I clicked on it and it went to the other page. I got to grab it from this one and transfer it over, because boy, oh Shevitz, these guys. Stop there. It's bizarre. Like, first of all, we looked yesterday at some of the L. Lynn Wood stuff, right? And you have to understand that in the world of, the L. Lynn Woods of the world, there is a, let's see, very dear friend of mine just passed away, OG from high school. Thanks. Oh, Spice Girl, I'm very, very sorry to hear that, and I'm glad I can make you laugh during this, and blessings to you and big hugs. I know what that's like. I lost someone similar last year, similarly. So I know what you're going through. And one of the things that can get us through is our joie de vivre, our joy of life. Whoops, get in here, silly. I grabbed that. What are you doing? You crazy? Hold on. Take this, copy that. This is so weird. Okay, let's see if that does it. I think it will. Trying to get a clip or a segment from this, because Mike Lindell has now effectively just fallen into. Yeah, we're getting a little choppy. I'm gonna have to cool this computer off. I'm gonna have to put it on an ice pack. Sorry.
Psalm 91. He who
Hold on. I think what I'm going to do, guys, is once we get past a certain point, I could iron a shirt with this computer right now. Hold on. I'm drawing heat into my body. Okay. Never mind, Siri. Never mind. Hold on. I'm not sure I understand. I know. I didn't want to start Siri. I touched the computer in a way that was untoward. I literally put like my fingers on the top of the laptop, and I act as a human heat sink. I did this. You guys will remember. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for being you. So this is choppy. I beg your pardon. Hold on. Let me see if I can. There we go. Let's see if I can reload that. Yes, so I'm acting. Yes, I need a water-cooled processor, but this one doesn't. Yes. So hopefully that will take some of the. By doing that, it takes some of the heat out, and that's what does it. Yeah, we need a GoFundMe. And in reality, if you want to help with getting the computer, just Venmo me. That's really for the best one. There's a fan on there, and I have a thermal comp. That to pull the heat away, and we used to use it, and it would just, because of the amount of video that I was doing, it just ate it alive. So, and I remember when we used to have the fan running in the room, and that was what kept it. This is the beginning of the show. This is going back OG. But hashtag we got to fix it. So I'll tell you what, I'm not going to do this Mike Lindell video right now. I'll sign off because we're past time 20 minutes anyways. And I'll continue to work on fixing that part of it. And hopefully I'll be up and running with the other desktop, and I can keep that cool enough, whereas the laptop is not capable of being cooled sufficiently. and my fingertips get hot because I literally, yeah. You can PayPal or Venmo. I appreciate the support, guys, if you want. Right now, it's sort of a waiting game, too, because the software that I use hasn't upgraded to Big Sur, and that's part of why I have to use an older computer. So that's a lot. So we'll figure it out, and I appreciate all your support. If you can help, please do. If you can't, I completely understand. And sorry for the choppy video. I will fix it because that's what I do. That's what I do. And I'm going to sign off for the night and go fix my stuff. And I appreciate you guys being with me today and laughing with me throughout all this. Thanks for the support. And again, thanks to the trolls for showing up and giving us all a good laugh at your expense and helping us really in a lot of ways to recognize just how dug in you are and how, where you are emotionally, all that stuff. I'll consult a young gamer. No kidding. So I'm going to sign off and go fix my stuff. Yeah, we love you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, much love. Bye, everybody. See you later. Thanks, everybody.